I've seen a sniper movie and I had an absolute blast watching it.
I really love to hear that feedback because I know that Sony and Oliver Thompson and everybody involved in making this film really did want to make it bigger and better than what audiences have experienced before. It's cliche to say that, for sure. Everyone says, no, this one's bigger, better. But they really did. You know, when you watch the movie, there's elements of Western themes, samurai themes. Sometimes you feel like you're watching a Tarantino film with the movement and the action and the music all playing together so nicely. There's a lot more humor and buddy cop stuff going on with the team and the leads in this film. So I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I think it's a really, really well-rounded, big-time popcorn experience.
Not knowing any of these characters, I was interested in the logistics of making it accessible to someone that's never seen Sniper. And then at the same time, after watching this, I wanted to go back and watch all 9 movies like right now.
Well, that's about the biggest compliment you can get. If you're not going to binge the entire Fast and the Furious series, you might as well binge ours. They have cars, we have guns, but we all have a lot of fun. So I love that they've taken it in a whole new direction. And I do love that people can just drop in. They don't need to necessarily watch the ones before, although we'd love it if they did. They can just kind of pick up where we left off. It almost feels like a standalone, but it folds into kind of a new direction in terms of the 3 of us, 4 of us, 5 of us adding and getting our little team together. So that's really wonderful to hear.
Well, you talk about the audience dropping in and out. You also have like Dennis Haysbert. He was in a couple. He wasn't in the last one. Now he's back. You have a couple of guys, Tom Berenger and Billy Zane. They're not here. It's interesting how you guys kind of bring in different people for every sequel.
Dennis Haysbert being back was fantastic. I was thrilled to hear about that because I think he's a fantastic actor, and I've loved working with him in the past. So him coming back as the Colonel was really fantastic, and they gave him a lot of stuff to chew on, and he really, really hits a home run. And that's not a pun, for the bat reference that he gets busy with in this movie too. But I guess it could serve both masters.
At the end, we see, I don't know if this is a spoiler, I hope not, but there's this end scene where Dennis is in the room, and it certainly appears that Sniper X is coming, and maybe everyone's coming back for that.
That's kind of what we're planning on doing. In fact, we're releasing Sniper Rogue Mission on the 16th, digital Blu-ray and DVD, and then we are heading off to go and save the world all over again with that same team intact. So we're going to bring another one to you as fast as we can.
I think it's crazy that you have Brendan Sexton III comes in. He plays a henchman, and in some movies that would be just a throwaway role no one pays attention to, but this guy elevates this character and makes it really special, and he's one of the new guys in the movie. What was like having him come into the team? I know he's not on your team, but the team overall.
Right. Shout out to Brendan Sexton and a wonderful Canadian actor we work with named David McGinnis, who plays his brother. They're not just the throwaway thugs. And I love that. They've got heart, they're brothers. They have their little bickering moments, but they have their I got your back moments. But I'm like, but you're also a bad guy. So I really love that they fleshed out those characters. They layered that characters. Oliver, the writer-director, Oliver Thompson, really put a lot of love into that. So you're not just killing Henchmen 1 and, I go toe-to-toe with Henchmen 3 and 4 and 5. So it was cool. There's a lot of heart. Their outfits were fantastic. And of course, their performances were really great.
Yeah, I was a little bummed that they kind of, I guess I shouldn't give spoilers, but not a possibility of either one of those guys coming back in a sequel, but maybe a prequel spinoff.
Listen, by Sniper 27, we'll be in space. It'll be a sci-fi jam. And that way we know that no one's really dead. Or if we go horror and full zombie Sniper, but since we're grounded in the present and reality, it's safe to say that those guys may not be coming back.
Well, you bring up an interesting thing, because when I was doing a little bit of research last night, I saw a lot of people that want to see Sniper in space.
Sniper in space. I mean, look, Fast and the Furious just sent a car to space. I don't know why you can't send a former Marine Scout sniper into space. I don't know. It seems more practical than a car, but who knows? Maybe we'll get there. After 10, we'll talk to the Sony brass and see if we can't put our team into space, because who knows? Maybe there's aliens out there that need a good sniping.
Well, is there any Sony property that you guys could cross over with? Because, my immediate thought is Tremors, but that's over at Universal.
I got my start in this industry doing a movie called Lake Placid 2 with Sony. I was very grateful for early in my career. That led me to coming aboard the Sniper franchise many moons ago. I wouldn't mind a Lake Placid 2, Lake Placid Sniper universe mashup. I mean, I don't know if a 20-foot croc can withstand a high-speed bullet coming from a mile away, but I'm down to find out, and I think other people would be too.
I think that sounds like the greatest movie of all time. Sniper versus Lake Placid alligator. Well, you bring up Lake Placid 2. That's a great movie. And the thing with some of these like direct to streaming or direct to demand movies is that you guys get a little bit more freedom, I would imagine, to kind of go just balls to the wall and do stuff that maybe you wouldn't get to do in a normal circumstance. You think that's a little bit true?
I do think it is. I mean, if you're working at such a higher studio level and a higher budget and everything else, there's a lot of masters to serve. There's a bigger, wider audience to have to think about. Our audience is fantastic. They're mighty. They're all around the world. We constantly go to Netflix and go to #1 in all of these countries around the world, which just shows the fan base that we have for this franchise. So, and I love that, we don't take that for granted. We're trying to make better movies, bigger and better movies, and the budget range that we operate in with the cast that we have available to us. So I really think that we hit it with this one. I think that the next one's going to be even bigger and better after reading that script. So, we do what we do, and we're trying to do it better and in a more entertaining way every single time. And I think Sniper Rogue Mission hits all the marks.
I think I had more fun watching this movie than like the last 10 movies I've seen at the movie theater, for sure. I mean, I will definitely say this is better than the Batman. So,
wow, that is high praise. I watched the Batman. I enjoyed it, but I grew up on comics, so I don't have as much of a critical perspective because I just get to see my superheroes on the big screen.
You guys get to do some crazy action in this movie.
Yeah, the action in Sniper Rogue Mission was really fun to do. We worked with the same stunt team, Hits International. Those guys are fantastic. They choreographed some really fantastic scenes. There's a scene where Ryan Robbins mixed it up with a thug, and it's in an elevator, in and out, up and down, and it's just fighting in a phone booth, and it's brutal, and it never ends. And I'm like, this is fantastic. Like, for this scene alone, that was kind of like the chef's kiss of action, in this one alone. Me and Sayaka have a little dust up. So, that's always fun to have a Japanese assassin coming at you with knives and everything else too. But the Ryan Robbins fight scene was really fantastic. And it's a testament to our amazing stunt coordinators and our actors who throw themselves in it. We just go for it and see what happens.
Well, that was one of the crazy things about that action scene too, is there's a part where you see all the action going on in the background and this person's running towards the camera. And I was like, I have never seen a shot like that, I think, in any other movie. I was like, you guys are doing some inventive stuff here that I can only see being lifted later on in the future, that people are going to steal little bits and pieces from this, because some of these scenes are so good and so inventive.
Making action movies, you always have your influences, right? You can tell Oliver Thompson, writer, director, producer, he had his influences, and it's all out throughout this movies. But there's no better compliment than telling Oliver that, like, hey, you did such a great job in such a unique way on this film that people are going to now borrow and steal from you. That's when you've made it.
I would believe there's I'd say at least 4 scenes where I was just like, what is going on in this movie? This is crazy stuff. Now, and you brought up the Lady Death scene. You get to fight Lady Death. You kind of have a showdown near a dumpster in a back alleyway. Can you kind of tell me about how you guys coordinated that and put that together and made it kind of like one of the better fight scenes in the movie, just because we love these two characters coming together?
Me and Sayaka Akimoto, who plays Lady Death, we just always find ourselves in fights. Even when we're trying to be on the same side, we find ourselves fighting. So we're in a very unglamorous back alley with the dumpster and garbage and stuff like that. And, she comes at me. We worked on that choreography for quite a few days when we weren't actually on set filming with the Hits International team. Mapping it out and everything else. And she's such a gamer. She just loves the stunt work, and she's not afraid to go for it. So she's a wonderful dance partner. And, I think it turned out really, really well. I mean, how often do you get to improvise and defend yourself with a bag full of trash? You know,
I was just thinking that.
There.
The trash bag and the knife, yes. And then let's talk about the opening of this movie. This thing flies out of the gate with such a big bang that I was a little bit shocked because I don't think I was expecting to see what I saw. And you kind of talked about, mixing Sniper with a horror movie. Not quite a horror movie, but it's kind of horrific to watch what happens. And I'm wondering for you, you're on a roof, like you've got the sniper rifle, and we see you intercut with what happens inside this call center. I don't want to give too much away, but can you kind of talk about what you thought when you saw that all edited together, especially since you kind of weren't around for parts of that?
I do think it was a particularly disturbing, opening, and the way that they choreographed that, it was all at once a beautiful shot with a big push and all the business going on and whatever else, but it was a brutal business. So you had this crazy, beautiful choreography and camera movement, but you also had very disturbing stuff going on. You had people being killed in a way that was just completely brutal and awful. So there was a crazy juxtaposition that makes you feel a little uncomfortable. It is kind of like what's going on because I can't stop watching it, but at the same time, what's happening is very upsetting. So that's really, I think what Oliver Thompson was going for is just that juxtaposition of this isn't right, but also I can't stop watching.
That ties kind of into the ending with what happens to one of the main villains. That's an ending you don't see in a mainstream movie too often. And that shot is pretty crazy, if you know what I mean, where the girl falls out of the car and you guys walk into the sunset, sort of. I was like, wow, this movie really went for it.
We weren't afraid to go for it, and I'm glad, we do basically hit that R rating. So, we have the license to keep it real, keep it gritty. And if someone's going to get shot, they're getting shot. If someone's getting punched in the face, they're getting punched in the face. And if someone gets their revenge, it's going to be a grisly revenge. So, we checked all the boxes there.
When you came in to revitalize this franchise, did you imagine that you were going to be starring in 6 of these back to back?
I was grateful for the very first one. I was still a relatively new actor, and it was all new to me. Year to year, I never knew if we would go back and do more and more and more, but we did, and it's been such a blessing in my career, and it's been so great, and it's really fun to know that we can keep pushing the envelope. We can keep trying to make these movies better because it's a successful franchise. There doesn't need to be a premium on making these things better. It's hard work to make them better. So it's wonderful that Sony and everybody else that gets involved with these films, they keep trying to elevate it. They keep trying to push the envelope. They keep trying to make it more interesting and more entertaining for audiences to enjoy, to keep pushing it in new directions, introduce new concepts, new characters, and everything else too. So I had no idea, that we'd be doing it this long. It was always my highest hopes. And I hope that we do another dozen more. And, there's a baby Beckett that I could pass off a long gun to down the road when I start to turn gray.
Man, that would be like in a decade, maybe 20 years, 20 years of sniper movies. Well, watching this movie, I was like, why isn't this a TV show? Because I would watch this every week if it was on. That's how much I enjoyed watching Rogue Mission.
Well, that's a great compliment. And, TV, it's the golden age of TV all over again. I love what we do, and I love how, even TV watchers can access our movies so easily. But listen, I'm open to a sniper series. To be able to do this on a weekly episode basis would be a dream come true. But in the meantime, to be able to get a new sniper movie out to audiences around the world every year or two, it ain't no joke. It's a lot of fun, and it's really great. And, if we keep making them at this rate, Brandon Beckett's going to have to get a girlfriend, a partner, and he's going to have to think about his legacy. And, we got to get ready for Sniper 27 when the young man grows up and is ready to carry on the torch.
Here's an idea that I wasn't sure if this was in previous movies, but we have the girl that's rescued from the call center and her new podcasting friend. And I thought, wow, these guys know about puzzles. Whoever wrote that end scene where they're putting that puzzle together, I was like, that's a little bit crazy to be watching this action movie that has just gone full stop. And then they're talking about puzzles and they know like the lingo that goes with it.
I love that element to this film. Oliver Thompson did his homework on puzzling That's for sure. And he created this character called Intelligent Pete that people will get to meet in our film, who's kind of our tech hacker genius, who's also very dry, very witty. What a wonderful actor named Josh Brener, who is very highly comedically trained, improv trained. Jocelyn Houdin did a great job as the sex trafficked girl who gets away and joins our team and comes on our side. So they're those two different worlds colliding, and they're bonding over puzzles. And I just love that heartfelt element that we kind of get in there in between all the gritty action. And that's a big testament to our director and Sony for the vision of that. And I think audiences are really, really going to enjoy that element to it.
And so Intelligent Pete will be back in Sniper X.
Word on the street is Intelligent Pete would be back for the next movie. So we certainly hope so. I can't barely use a smartphone. So we need somebody to be able to rock all the technical stuff for us.
Well, before we go, I want to ask two more questions. One is because I know there's product placement in movies, and I think you know what I'm going to ask. What was going on with Sunkist and Fanta? Because I was like, those are two competing brands as far as I know. And usually those brands don't want to be seen on screen together. And I was like, what's going on here? This is bizarre.
That's a great question for Oliver Thompson. I know Oliver grew up in I believe, Michigan, where soda is pop. I grew up in upstate New York, where at a certain cutoff point, it's soda in the eastern part and central part, and then it's pop on western part when you push out to Buffalo. So I don't know. I think that is a great question for him, and why pop was such a feature, almost like a co-star with us in certain scenes, because, Intelligent Pete loves his pop. He loves his orange pop. So I don't know. I think it was a funny thing, but look, if Sunkist or Fanta want to call us and be our Heineken in a James Bond movie in terms of just gross product placement, blatant, I think we're open. Intelligent Pete would be happy.
Yeah, that's the thing, is this didn't feel like product placement just because they brought both of those sodas to the table. I was like, what's going on here? This is weird. Now, my last question for you is, how do you see Beckett sort of evolving into the future from where he's come from? Because you've got 6 movies under your belt, and it sounds like there's a lot more. And it seems like there's a lot more to invest in and get to know this character coming up in the future.
Brandon Beckett's taken such a journey. He was boots on the ground, infantry Marine grunt, and then he learned the way of the sniper and the long gun, and he rose through the ranks of the Marines. Now we've gotten away from that, and he's kind of more of a special operative. In this movie, we see him trying his hand at being in the CIA, and it turns out he's more of a pencil pushing, red stapler clicking office drone, which doesn't sit well with him. And of course, he can't help himself going off book and off script and breaking protocol, and he gets chided, and and he gets let go. So he's just not meant for that. He's meant to be his own man. He's meant to be Rogue Mission is such a great title, because that's what you have to do if you want to do the right thing and get the job done. So we'll see where this takes Brandon next, but I think he's fitting comfortably into fitting nicely into a team of renegades that do the right thing without having to answer to too many people and suffer too much red tape.
Okay, well, thank you so much. This movie seriously turned me into a Sniper fan. And over the weekend, I'm going to go watch all of these, because this is the first one I've seen, and I was like, wow. Okay, I get why there's 9 of these. This is a great franchise.
That's such a compliment, Paul, and I do appreciate that. And I hope you enjoyed the back catalog.
I hope so, too. I'll see you later.
All right.
Bye, sir.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.